I wanna hear your voice. You should say all of the things you wanna say. You can be her right here today. I wanna hear your voice. Be free and tell your story.
Goddess, you made it. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to Goddesshood. We're not just a show, we're a collective. We believe that the healing of one contributes to the healing of all. On our show, you will hear stories and tips that will inspire you to live, love, laugh, and exist on freaking purpose. Let's live. I'm Thea, a podcast mentor dedicated to empowering women. At Goddesshood, we focus on helping women find and use their authentic voices through podcasting, fostering a deep connection with themselves and with other women. It is my honor to introduce Tasha Scott. Tasha is an accomplished talent acquisition, HR systems, diversity, inclusion, and belonging practitioner with over a decade of experience in the industry. She proudly identifies as bisexual and is currently developing her own podcast, Bisexuality with Tasha. Like, what's the tea, right? So, where she dives into the tea on topics around bisexuality and more. So, welcome, Tasha.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. This is so exciting. So I don't want to tell everybody all the tea, but I'm going to tell them this is her first podcast appearance. So I'm really excited.
It is. It's odd. I'm like telling my partner, it's like my name's going to be on something. I'm like, they're going to be able to look me up.
I know. Okay, so we're going to start with some rapid fire fun questions for the audience to get to know you. If you're in the audience and you want a chance to win a gift that helps you unlock more playfulness in your life, you'll complete the questionnaire to be entered into a drawing and you could win something fun and playful. So, if you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Ooh. Oh my gosh. Walk through shit. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm just trying to think up off my top of my head, but like if I could get anywhere just by walking, I don't have to open a door or like, like
Yep.
just get through it.
I love that. That's actually like mine. Usually I tell people I just want to be able to pop up. I want telekinesis. Like, here I am.
Get to things. Yeah.
About me, here I am. Okay. I like that.
Right.
And then
I have to put down grocery bags. Like,
Actually, that would be really nifty, right? If you want to bring up the cases of water. Look at us. Very practical.
Kids, like carrying the kid, all that stuff. Yeah.
So when you were a kid, what was something you were passionate about?
My goodness. I was definitely passionate about my family and friends, which has not changed. So that's probably like corny, but I grew up with like a big extended family and we always did things and constantly play. But I was also into like art quite a bit. So I love drawing and like I have a daughter, so she's literally me pint size. And so she's like doing all of these things. And I'm like, that was me.
Wow. That's so fun to be able to see that in your children. Like, oh, I see the little things that like I did. Wow.
And now we do it together. So it's like, that bonding moment.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is one childish thing that you still do to this day? Depends on who you ask. No.
Oh, childish. So I will say if I'm talking to my friends or someone that I care about and someone is bothering me or has like just gotten under my skin, I sometimes will refer to that person in animal form. Like this person is, and you already know what I'm talking about. Like this rhinoceros, this beast, this insect, this whatever. It's so petty. It's so petty. I know. I don't know if people are going to resonate with that, but like, it's wrong. I know it's so childish. It's childish, it's petty, but it makes me feel slightly better to be able to say something when it's like, I know I can't direct that to the person, but when I'm talking to my homie, the person that I trust, they know when I talk about, the animal in the room, they know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, this hippopotamus is over here all up in my face. Well, I think that's better than calling them like something like totally derogatory because like, like it's an animal. It's like fine.
Right. I stay away from cat and dog mostly, but mostly it's just like, like the unicorn, the horse over there, the rhinoceros, it's like the sloth. It's like in the extended family.
I love that. Okay. I love this. Okay. All right. Well, All you hippopotamuses out there. No, just kidding. Hate to see Tasha coming.
Very few and in between. I love most people. Most people. There's
Yeah.
only a few out there.
I mean,
That's
all of
it.
us get our buttons pushed every now and then. There's nothing wrong with that. It's what it is. We're humans, right? So just don't try me and you won't find out. So okay, so we're gonna pivot a little bit into today's question. So are you willing to stand in your truth and in your boundaries?
Ooh.
The last couple months, a lot of us have been setting boundaries. A lot of us have been advocating for ourselves, whether relationally, whether career wise. It has been the theme, right? So with you, Tasha, I know that in this case, when we talked about setting this up, we talked about in terms of your relationship. So let's
Mhm.
kind of talk a little bit about the context around that first.
Yeah. So we talked about talking about something selfish that I did. And I would say in my day-to-day life, I'm probably super selfless. I have twins, I have family, I have friends, and I love to do a lot of things for them. Like I can't even buy myself a shirt without buying my kids like four. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
have to justify it in my head. I go to the store and get them a charcuterie board, stuff for a charcuterie board. So I'm spending $70, but then I'll just get myself like a piece of chicken. So like I'm not day to day selfish, so to say. But I will say that the ultimatum that my lovely partner, if she listens to this, um, is something that we have talked about. We argued about it, and she mentioned to me that it might be a selfish thing, and I was like, I think so. But then when I flushed it out a little bit more in my thought process, sometimes it's okay to do selfish things. And so that came directly from my boundary of understanding from a long history of dating what I did and didn't want in a relationship and where I wanted to focus my energy, but also being able to still give someone a choice, even though it might be an uncomfortable choice, it's still a choice instead of behind the scenes running things the way felt like doing for long periods of time.
Mm,
I don't know how you feel about that. Have you given an ultimatum in your life?
yeah. Like, oh, definitely. I mean, it's really challenging, and I feel like when you give ultimatums, it's because you still actually care about the person. So it
Mm-hmm.
is very selfish, I feel like, to, like, it's good for us to put ourselves first. So for everybody listening, when we talk about season of selfishness, it's in the context of actually putting yourself first in a positive way. Because a lot of us, like Tasha said, she like can't think about, um, herself without thinking about others sometimes. And that's how we are as humans. However, there are things that if we're not selfish, we end up becoming resentful, right? So I think
Mm-hmm.
that in the attempt to like still keep the relationships going, we give ultimatums, right? So I've given an ultimatum because I still care about the person. I still want them to be around. However, these things have to be met. It's a boundary, it's an ultimatum, whatever you want to call it, but these things have to be met in order for us to continue forward, right? How did
Mm-hmm.
it feel when you first set this ultimatum with your partner? Like, what was like the feeling inside of your body first?
So I have a history of I'm a serial monogamous, right?
Mhm.
So I have very rarely am I actually single, and most of the time I'm in a relationship because a girl loves love and like that's just the way it is. And so over the course of time and therapy, and I was once married too, after my divorce, I had to spend a lot of time becoming selfish. Had to spend time becoming more selfish and just really diving into what it is that I needed and wanted and not having other people define that for me, which is a process, right? So you do these things in therapy, you come up with these revelations, right? But then you got to apply it. So then I got into another relationship that I was on and off for 2 years, and me and him had a very intense connection, but it didn't work out for different reasons. But I was still trying to apply that, but I didn't feel as comfortable and confident in those
Mhm.
things. The second time we round, I did, and we had a good conversation. And the reason why, part of the reason why we broke up is because those boundaries were crossed, and it had nothing to do with infidelity. But
Yeah.
sometimes people's personal demons are enough to be a boundary because
Yeah.
it's hard. So when I came into this relationship with my current partner, and hopefully she'll still be my partner after she listens to this, which she should be.
She will.
Um, we met each other very organically. There was no mess around it, but we were both at different stages in our lives of coming undone from people. And I was dating, and so I ended up dating. We started talking and then liking each other and just naturally started to progress. And then I met someone else and started dating them, and it started feeling like, okay, like this is pretty nice as well too. And the type of person I am, I give a lot. And so I can't just date five, six, seven people, go
Yeah.
on dates here. And I no disrespect to people to do, but for me, because I'm a lover and I'm a serial relationist, I tend to go deep with one person than deep with many.
Mm-hmm.
And it just got to the point where, I was spending lots of time with my partner. Like I was spending time with the other person. The other person was asking for more time. I could tell I was giving energy to both and I was being just spread thin pretty much. And so I had to just sit with myself and say, hey, what do you want to do at the end of the day? Like I had to get
Well,
selfish with myself. What do you want to do? Like I could let them tell me what they want to do, but where do you want to be? And
mm,
so that's something from my therapy that I learned that, a good chunk of times when I was in previous relationships, the person told me what they wanted. And so I'm like, I want to get my power back. So when I gave my partner the ultimatum, it was definitely, I wanted to be with her. Like there was no doubt about it
yeah.
in my head. But I also owed it to this other person that if I was going to invest and spend some more time with her, that I needed to then either shut that door with my partner or I needed to be with no one, right? Like I just needed to give that person clarity. And I felt like I owed them that as well, too.
Yeah.
So when I gave it, and I feel like this is a long about answer, but I feel like this is just
Okay.
me. I have to give the context. I feel like it was empowering and it was scary as fuck, like because I knew I could lose this person. But at the end of the day, I wanted them to choose versus me decide or like do stuff sneakily behind the back and then,
Yeah.
we're entering a relationship and it's not based upon real truths.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm, that makes sense. Ooh, okay. So first and foremost, it felt empowering, but obviously scary as as fuck. 'Cause setting a boundary, having ultimatum can be scary. But I like that in this, you were taking back your power and you chose yourself, in the midst of this. Okay, so after you made the choice of who you wanted, right? And you had the conversations. Obviously, like, it doesn't always work out. People get upset. Those things happen. So moving to the next stage, were with your partner. Um, was the ultimatum then you asking her to do the same? What was the ultimatum that we're talking about?
yeah, and just so the audience is clear, that shit didn't go as smooth as I thought it would.
You thought it was gonna be all player.
I was like, no, it did not go as
Of
smooth as
course
I
not.
wanted to. Like it was, and rightfully so. But I think that when you step in a space of confidence and self assurance and you're just more aware, you understand like this may not land well with this person.
Yeah.
And I was willing to take that risk. So it did not initially land well with her at all. But as we as we moved on in a relationship and we had more conversations, one, she wanted me to understand that that was like hella fucking bold. Like she was like, she said it was like player style. And I was like, it's not. Like I can see that, but it wasn't, at least for me.
So wait, what
Um,
exactly did you say? Because we need to know the words.
so
We're taking notes. I'm sorry. We're taking notes.
so I think I said something along the lines of we had spent a lot of time. We are long distance. So she had been here, but we were building up and we were falling for each other over the phone. I met her in person and then it just progressed. And then she came here and we both made comments that were just like, this is us. You know what I mean? In so
Mhm.
many words without saying it, but saying it. And so that intensity was just something that I couldn't deny. And so I'm just thinking to myself, like, I need to do this. And like at the same time, this other person is, you know, applying soft pressure and just letting me know what they want, like setting their expectations too, which is fair. So it was tough. So I said something along the lines of we spent a lot of, you know, we spent quality time together. Like now we can like confirm that the in-person matches, you know, what we thought over the phone. Like I have a lot of feelings for you, but I do have other outlying things that are competing. And I want you to understand that I am focused on you and I really want this with you. But I want you to decide. I want you to decide if this is something you want to do. Like, do you want to be all in and be exclusive? Not even like girlfriend, whatever, but do you want to be exclusive? Because the long term for me, because I'm a projector, I'm thinking we're going to be flying back and forth. We're going to be spending this money, like da 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 da. And what I felt when we were together, it was either going to have to be an all in or an all out for me. And so I can tell you how it came onto my partner. Like it came off as, look, Ninja, you going to do this or not? Like this is how she explains it to me. You going to do this or not? Because I got these other dudes and they hitting up my line, and I really like you, but you know, if you don't want to do that, then it is what it is. I'll just hit on one of these other ninjas. That's how it came off to her.
Well, what did you actually say? That was the translation.
That was the translation. It's not what I said. And I mean, in so many words, she's not 100% wrong, right? But it's just like we're both in HR. We know how to make things pretty, and we know how to make things sound. You know, we know how to make things sound a certain way. But the honesty was like, I want to intentionally move forward with you. I'm intentional about you, and I'm serious about, you know, creating more of a relationship and going deeper with you. But I can't do that with us being this far apart and not knowing that we're going to be committed to just me and you. And if you don't want to do that, I understand. But if you do want to do that, you know, that's great. Let's see what it is. And so at first she was just like, I don't know. And so I hung up on her. Yeah, I know. Because I wasn't sure what the reaction was going to be, but like I didn't think that far, right? Like I'm human.
He was like,
I
hey,
thought
no,
there-
gotta go, bye. Love you, bye.
yeah, right. She's like, I don't know if I could do that. Like I'm not sure. And I hung up. And then she called back and we talked about it. And she's like, let's do it. So it was definitely a risk for her because the way that she went about relationships was completely different. I came in like a whirlwind to her very organized, structured life and like messing everything up and stuff. So it was a lot, but like I had to learn different pieces. And now that we're over a year and of knowing each other and, you know, it's just shy of a year of like actually dating each other, it makes sense now, like looking back, why she received it that way and why I felt so comfortable in saying it. So,
Yeah.
you know, I had to take her feedback, and I was like, you know, I didn't like it at first, but then I was like, she's not wrong. But also, I'm not wrong either.
No, you're not. I mean, it's just delivery and it's up to people how they choose to receive things sometimes too. But I think this was better than you continuing on and continuing to be with other people and like having these feelings and being passive aggressive about wanting her to like let the person go. Because sometimes people will do that too. I've been guilty of that, where you just kind of huffing and puffing and expecting somebody to do something that they're not doing, but you haven't spoken up or communicated, you know? So this was definitely the mature, hard route, but the mature route.
I know the adult stuff isn't easy. But I don't think I asked your other question, was it expected of her? And so I think in my head it was expected, but there was also like things that she I call it cleaning up the side of your street, right? So like when you become exclusive, I think you have to shut doors that were open or like cracked or like people coming to the door. Like there's like I had to clean my side of the street just like she had to clean her side of the street. So it was an expectation that like, all right, I'm going to do this and you're going to do that. And it was definitely a rocky start. Like, I'm not going to lie. And so I think it's just because our differences and where we were at, we needed more, but that needed to be done. Like in my head, if that didn't happen, I don't think we would be where we are today because it challenged us, but it challenged me to really truly close the doors. Like, and it challenged her to reassess doors that she thought were closed and like, start the process of closing those doors as well too. So,
okay, let me ask you a question because I want to ask you because I don't want to say it. I want you to say it. But what is the purpose of cleaning up your side of the street, and why is that important? You know why I'm asking because I can't say it, but you go ahead and say it.
Girl, listen, I have cheated in my past, and that is something that I just didn't want to do. I am would be more of a physical cheater. So I don't need a ton of emotional connection if I'm just cheating because it's kind of like, that's for that. And there's nothing there. If I'm emotionally connected to someone, we're probably going to be together. So that's like not a thing. For my partner, she would be more of an emotional cheater than a physical cheater because she just really craves that intimacy, friendship, and connection with someone. For us to want to build the way we wanted to build, for us to share the values that we shared, for us to have a future is very, very clear to, I think, both of us that we wanted to do that on a clean slate. But I think we challenged both of ourselves and like, we got to walk and talk the talk, right? Like having safety nets or people around us that would make it comfortable, or like if this didn't work out, I have a soft landing. If I have an argument with someone, I have a soft landing. Like that creates cracks in the foundation that we're building. And like I said, it wasn't like a smooth, we're exclusive and now everything's perfect. Like it wasn't like that. I will say this, if you give an ultimatum, you have to give the space for grace. Like I'm just going to call it out because you can't go from one step to another. Maybe for some people, but I don't find that is 100% realistic. And so, but once that grace period is over, then you need to be committed to the process or get out, right? That's when you really decide, are you going to be together or not? And so we didn't make it official till probably 3 full months after, because that's the time it needed to take for us to both get to a position, I think, where our streets were cleaned up, or so to say. Doesn't mean we haven't dealt with the ramifications of the unclean streets before, but we had to, like, seriously, and so, I mean, I would just ask, I guess, the audience, like, what type of relationship do you want to have? Like, if you want to have a relationship that is truly truthful and honest and on foundation, you have to give grace, but you also have to hold yourself accountable and you have to do the work to get to the better place. And I think that's what, marriages and stuff can be built on if you want to have truly a happy, marriage. And so hopefully that's the end goal for us. We both want that. But if not, I've just learned so much stuff here.
Yeah.
And, I feel like I could definitely take that and use that and with my next partner, but hopefully this is my life partner. And, yeah.
I appreciate you saying that because Tasha knows a lot about me. And you guys are going to learn more.
You know a lot about me, girl.
Yeah. You guys are going to learn more in season 3 about why I'm laughing. But I would say is I've started cleaning up my side of the street, even though I'm not even in a relationship right now. And there is some pushback around from a specific person. And I asked Tasha because, again, I could like tell y'all my opinion about it, tell you what I think. But when you hear someone else say it, you're like, okay, we're tracking. Because I really feel like it's important to not give yourself the opportunity in the space. Because I've been like you, Tasha, I've also had an affair before and been a cheater. And I don't think it's fair to kind of keep someone around that could be a temptation in the future in another round of life, And I was definitely more so of an emotional cheater than I am a physical cheater because I don't get physical unless I feel like there's something there or there's like a hard boundary around something, like it has to be very black and white or very clear for me, like I like you, you go in this bucket. We're just doing this, we're in this bucket, but it has to be very, very clear. Otherwise, it doesn't work for me in any way, like being physical with someone. So I think it's really important, what you said, to clean up your side of the street before. And if you can, like, start doing it before you get into a relationship, I think it's good. Because then when you meet the person, you're like, you're ready, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're never really fully ready, but I think the ultimatum like rolled into and offset a lot of other things, right? As
Yeah.
far as us becoming confirmed like girlfriend, that was her selection, her doing. So she was like, I want this. And I'm like, I
Mhm.
want that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, so people can get complacent in spaces because there's comfortability and you don't if nothing's like making it feel uncomfortable, maybe why do I need to change this, right? But like even the way that I have engaged with people from my past that I thought was acceptable, now with my intention in this relationship, I'm like, that's not acceptable. And again, it doesn't need to be physical, it could be just emotional, right? So like
Mhm.
well, I don't want to call this person anymore when I have an argument. No, I'm not going to just go to these certain events where I know this person's going to be, and it's going to be like that. Like there's other places I can go, right? There's like little things where I'm just like, oh, yeah, yeah. If I want this, I need to do that.
Exactly.
So,
That's so good.
mm,
Sorry, the brain just processing. Sometimes you gotta listen to that
girl.
stuff marinate. Um, yeah, I love this conversation because I just really think like we can do the things for ourselves, and I think that's what I really take away from you today, just from the beginning of the conversation till now, is like you focus really about what you want, and I think that if what you want is better, if you want to not be complacent, you don't want to just fall into contentment, if you're not in pain enough, like make the changes now. And so I just really taken away from you just what do you want? What do I want? And is it pleasing to me? Am I claiming that and am I owning that? Um, because then you can end up in some situations like this where, cheating does start to occur because you haven't claimed what you wanted, or you've, been resentful in some ways, or you haven't made a move, or you've depending on the other person to provide the happiness or the space for
Mm-hmm.
you. So
Mm-hmm. And I'm 38 years old, so it took me
yeah, that's why I'm
a
glad I have y'all.
long
I'm like 32 and we're gonna well, 33 basically almost.
it took me a long time. But I mean, I really want to the way I enter a relationship and hopefully end if it ends, right, end a relationship, I want it to be the same, like clean, clear, understanding, same thing. So that means I don't want to be a cheater. I don't want to like be such a negative cause to why it's over. Like
Yeah.
relationships are hard enough. And if it's communication, let it be that, right? But
Mhm.
don't let it be because I was doing some sneak shit because I was scared, right? Like
Yeah.
let me communicate that with my partner. Let me force myself to do some of the things that I haven't done in the past that maybe I should have
Yeah.
that I'm learning now. So it takes time. It does take time.
I'm so proud of you. That's awesome. And this is such a I think it's such a blessing to have a truly transparent and honest relationship. Um actually, I'll tell this little tidbit. When before I was going to like decide to actually have the affair, I'd actually talked to my partner about what I was feeling about this other human. And I was like, clearly there's something going on, and I would like us to work through it. And I was kind of dismissed in that moment. And I hadn't really been in other relationships before, so I didn't really know like what to what to do from there. And
Mm,
so hearing how you kind of like took your power back of like, this is what I want, this is what I need, and standing on that is huge. Instead of like just literally, once I was kind of like dismissed, I just kind of ended up hiding and just was like, okay, well, you want to talk
mhm.
about it? This is what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? So I think that's really huge, and I thank you for sharing that vulnerability and honesty today with us. So we're gonna pivot a little bit into the vibes or vibing segment. So we're gonna start off with our Wisdom Del Alma deck. It is 44 affirmation cards to activate your inner diosa. Diosa in Spanish is goddess, goddesshood. So you guys
Mm,
get it. So I'm gonna shuffle the deck a little bit, and then Tasha, I'm gonna split the deck into two piles, and you'll just tell me left or right. And some people like to get fancy, and they're like the third card down in the left pile, fourth card down, whatever you want. Not the 10th card, though. You
oh,
don't have to count all them cards. So left or right.
right. Because
Okay.
I'm right-handed.
Okay. And top card, bottom card, you have any like specific?
I went the fifth card because five
Okay.
is my favorite number. This
Yeah.
better be good, see. I'm not playing.
It's going to be after all of this. Girl. Okay, sorry, this one's good. So, I am whole even when I feel lost. I,
Mm.
like the moon, I am whole in all my phases and stages, and it has, like, all the moon phases on the card. And then on the back, it says, "I know that the moon is not more beautiful in one phase than another. She is not more worthy in one phase than another. She is in motion, evolving, and so am I, and so am I." Ooh, that's a good
Dang.
one. That is
Okay.
perfect.
I like
Okay,
that.
I decided on a different song than what we talked about.
I knew that was gonna happen. I just had a feeling.
Yeah, sometimes, like, as I go, this is what happens. So, as y'all know who listen to the show, we have our Goddesshood playlist as well, and so we pull an affirmational song from the playlist. What came to mind when hearing you talk about, like, everything? I think this is about you, this is about your partner, this is about me, this is about, taking back my power too. Love Again by Alex Isley, because the lyrics are like, "You make me feel like I can love again." And
Oh.
I think, like, it's powerful that you went through therapy, so you felt like you could start loving yourself again, but then this other person was introduced where you felt like you can love again in a different way and in a more honest and truthful way that's true to you, you
Mhm.
know? So that's what came to me when I was, like, listening. I was like,
I
"Ooh,
like it. I
what is the
like it.
song?" Okay. So, is there anything that you would like to leave our audience with? Just some final thoughts and words and wishes for them.
Oh, don't just go out throwing out ultimatums, okay? Like, I'm not saying that. Like, let's just not do that. I will say that's the first and probably only time I will ever do that and have done it. I would say just really get comfortable being uncomfortable. And don't make decisions on other people's emotions, right? Like, because I could have been like, I'm not going to say these things because someone else is going to be mad or sad or upset. And like, I'm not saying that those things didn't happen, but you have to be able to receive what you're giving. So standing in your strength doesn't mean everyone's going to like what you're doing. So let's be clear, but like, be strong enough to know that if you're very confident in what you're doing and this makes sense to you and you feel good in it, then do it. And just it may work out good, it may work out bad. My situation, like I said, it's worked out good so far, but it was a little rocky, so I had to give that space. So make sure you also give that space too. So that's what I would say to anyone listening today, and good luck.
Thank you for tuning in. You've been listening to Goddesshood with Thea and Tasha. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and head to the show notes for some goodies. And remember to live, love, laugh, and exist on freaking purpose. Go live.
I wanna hear your voice. You should say all of the things you wanna say. You can be her right here today. I wanna hear your